What's up, daddies? Let's talk about who we think is going to die in The Walking Dead Season 5 finale. This does mean spoilers for the show if you're not up to date, and maybe a little bit for the comic books. It's more of a prediction than really talking about the comic books like I usually do, so you've been warned. I don't feel bad if I spoil you on anything that's already happened. So who's going to die? First of all, I think the favorite pick, the one we all want to see die, and the most likely candidate to get off is Peter Anderson. Pete and Rick had their little feud in the last episode before the season finale, and the comics that culminates with Rick shooting Pete in the head. But that comes after some other events, which leads me to some other candidates for who's going to die. In the comics, Pete goes to a funeral to kill Rick, and I don't think it's going to be at a funeral necessarily because they didn't really have anything for Aiden or Noah or anything like that, and there's not really time for this to happen. That I can see. So I think Pete's going to go to kill Rick, and like in the comics, he kills Douglas Monroe's wife, Regina. Now, we know that in the show, Douglas Monroe is now Deanna Monroe, and Douglas's wife, Regina, is Deanna's husband, Reg. I think that Pete might kill Reg, and that will send Deanna over the deep end and allow Rick to kill Pete. Now, that bullet, that gunshot, is heard by this group called the DC Scavengers, who might turn out to be the Wolves, and they come to Alexandria to attack. They lose, so maybe they're all going to die. I don't know if that's actually going to get there in the time for this show. It's going to be a lot. I know we have 90 minutes. We have an extra 30 minutes, so a lot could happen, but it's going to be tight seeing if all of this can fit in. They might die. The DC Scavengers might get introduced and might die. They don't have a long lifespan in the comics. Another candidate to die, though, is, like I said, Reg, Peter. Deanna might go. If the DC Scavengers arrive and the horde of zombies ends up getting there this week, then Deanna gets devoured. Well, Douglas gets devoured in the comic books. Could mean Deanna gets devoured in the show, shooting off wildly and shooting Carl in the eye. Now, I think Carl and Rick and Maggie and Carol are all safe. You can't have the show without Rick. He's got way too much going on. He's got too many relationships, and the show would just fall apart without Rick. Carl, he's got a lot to go. He's got a lot of growth, and he's the reason Rick pushes on. We can't lose Carl. Maggie's going to become a leader. She's a reason for Glenn to push on, and Carol is just such a great focal point now that I think it would be a mistake to kill her. Daryl might be in trouble. Daryl might be on the chopping block. Honestly, he's out there in the woods with Aaron. The wolves might find them. They found that body tied to the tree. The wolves might be nearby, and they might find Aaron and Daryl, and they might end up bringing them back to the Alexandria Gate, and there's your cliffhanger. There's what's going to happen to Aaron and Daryl. You don't know. Then I think Nicholas is in trouble, too. Either Nicholas or Glenn is definitely in trouble, because we know Nicholas has the gun that Rick hid in the blender out of that abandoned house. Glenn, I don't know if he's going to die. I wouldn't go as far as to say he's going to die in the finale, but I would go as far to say he's going to be in trouble, and the cliffhanger might be whether or not he dies. Why? Because we love him, we care about him, and the Daryl storyline and the Daryl cliffhanger has been used before when we saw him and Merle. Maggie, the relationship with Maggie, I think that has to grow more. I think that killing one of them would be a huge mistake, but I think that would be a huge talked about point, huge impact on the viewers if Maggie thinks Glenn is in trouble and we think Glenn is in trouble. The Nicholas-Glenn fight has to reach its climax in this finale, I hope. I really hope that Nicholas goes down. So those are my guesses: Pete, Nicholas, and Reg. That's what I think. Let me know what you think. Who's going to die in the Walking Dead Season 5 finale in the comments section. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel for more news, interviews, and clips, and follow Comicbook.com on Twitter for all your news. It's going to be a long off-season. We'll bring you everything Walking Dead we get and everything else in the meantime. Thanks for watching. In the comic books, it goes a little bit differently, and that's what I can tell you about. In the comics, Rick, Carl, and Abraham are searching through Cynthiana before leaving for DC, and they're